Okay. Good morning and welcome to the Cataloging Committee meeting, which we haven't had for a while. Were there any additional items that anyone wanted to bring forward at this point in time? Hearing nothing, I will assume that means there are none. So, meeting minutes. We didn't get to this at the last meeting because we didn't have everything in front of us. So did everyone have a chance to look at the December 4th and February 5th minutes? And I probably should have sent those out along with the other things, but I didn't. They've been on the website. I think they were posted when they were available.
My recollection was that they were fine.
That's mine. I remember looking at them at the time, but not recently.
Does anyone want to make a motion that we accept them as they were presented?
I motion that we accept them as they were presented.
I second. This is Beth.
Okay. All those in favor? Aye.
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 Dia, a question on the side. Was Lori joining us today?
She didn't think she'd be able to. She is on the road today.
Oh, that's right. Okay. Should we have somebody else take minutes today?
We could. I'm also recording it if she's able to, or I can do that later.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
We didn't,
we should
we
be
didn't
fine.
talk about it, but I did get it started this morning.
Okay. This sounds great.
Okay. So the minutes have passed. Okay, Beth, do you want to start off the discussions with the search problems?
Sure. So I'm trying to remember how long this has been going on, but certainly for the last month and a half, we have periodic search problems, and those search problems just identify themselves as you'll do a title search, an author search, an ISBN search, and it won't return any results, and you know that there really is something in the system, and then 5 minutes later you'll search that same term and it comes up. So we've been working on trying to identify the source of the problem, but have not found its source yet. John has been restarting services every night, just to kind of, it's just another step to be proactive in making sure that the system is performing at maximum capacity. If we get reports during the day that there's search problems, we'll restart services during the day. I don't know that that is making a difference or not, but it is something tangible that we can do. I just sent another email to a support vendor we use from time to time to see if they have any ideas, because this is frustrating that we're not finding the source of the problem. And but anyway, it's just kind of an update letting you guys know that we're working on it. And if you have search problems, go ahead and send us an email. But please try your search again within 5 to 10 minutes and see if you get results at that point. and we'll see. I'll keep you updated. Any questions?
Now this is just a Z39.5 or Sage?
No, it's Sage. I think Z39.50 could be impacted at times, but most of the reports that we've been getting are just searching Sage for when you're matching and attaching.
Right. I've also found WorldCat's been weird too. I wonder if it's some sort of worldwide.
Web glitch?
Right.
Yeah. Well, I would love to solve the mystery, so we're going to keep at it. Otherwise, we're looking at performance, tweaks that we could do to the database to make it search faster, and those kind of things. But work in progress. And Jenny's saying, yes, when you're looking for a record and you have the book in hand and it says it's not found. That's kind of, it's like, think again. Lisa's been restarting her Evergreen client and said it seems to help, but it might just be a coincidence. Yeah, a lot of the things we're trying, we don't know whether it's really helping or it's a coincidence that it gets better, but we feel better at least trying. So hopefully I'll hear something back. John and I are also needing to upgrade some of the servers' operating systems, and so that might improve performance as well. So we'll be working on some things in the next few weeks and throughout the summer to increase performance.
Thanks, Beth. Okay, you want to give also an update on authority work?
Sure. Annually, about this time of year, we we get an update from our authority control vendor, LTI, of all of the authority records that have changed based upon the records that they know we have. I just finished that update and loaded new authority records into the system and updated all the BIBs that had changes. And right now I'm working on processing doing the authority linking on all of the records in the database. So far, I'm, I guess, 1/4 of the way. We have 2 million BIBs. And most of this I run at night, and so it shouldn't impact you during the day at all. And it's just, what it's doing is it's going through and adding or updating those subfield zeros that are after authority fields like author and subjects and those kind of things. So just making sure that those are linked to the recently updated authorities.
Any questions anybody has about this? Okay. Something that the mentors have noticed in some of their follow-up work with new bibs and importing bibs, etc., is we're seeing that sometimes people are still adding the 040 subfield D when they're just adding a 999 tag to the record, and that is not something that we need to do. When we make a modification in the bib itself and not that local field, if you would do that. Otherwise, what happens is sometimes we just continue to make those really long strings of data in the 040 longer, and you may be contacted asking, what kind of things did you modify, and you may not remember because you didn't really modify much. So just as a reminder, when you edit and add a 999 field, even when you're just bringing a record in, please don't add that 040. And speaking of 999s, we've had it come to our attention that sometimes there's needs for, a new 999 field based on new types of technology that comes out. So that creates needs for various things, or just things that all of a sudden will show up in our cataloging that maybe we have not cataloged recently, and maybe no one else has really added either. And so we started looking at, rather than just a willy-nilly kind of a situation of adding any kind of new, we want to try to keep it as streamlined for those filters as possible. So we're asking that if you come across a need, let one of the mentors know, or to let Beth or John know, and we'll talk about it and decide where the best place is for that, and if we do need a new 999, and then we will get that information pulled together and out to the community. So that leads into John, speaking of that.
Well, actually, Dia, there's a quick question about adding the 526. Does the 040 need to be adjusted?
That's a good question.
It is a good question. I was thinking about it's local information.
Yeah, I don't know that it's not really changing the information in the bib record, so I think that would fall under the same classification. But that's a good question. Maybe we ought to address that.
If the 526 was not there in the first place, it is adding content to the bib.
Right.
So I would add the 040 in that case. If all you're doing is adding the NISA tag to it, probably not. But I think in most cases, Jenny, you're adding an AR tag at the get-go. So yeah, so I think adding an 040 subfield D is appropriate in that case.
I think you're right.
Very good question.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so on the sagelib.org/cataloging page, under resources, there is an updated cheat sheet for book, audio, video, and the 999 list, which is what Dia was talking about. So under the 999 list, there are a few new items. It would be eJournal, eReader, eVideo, flashcards, and toys and games. And I know that Dia is going to talk about the book with CD that we're going to be adding but haven't added yet to the official list. So as far as the other cheat sheets, like the book cheat sheet, it goes through and lists the required fields, just like it always has, and then it gives you examples of what those required fields are. Like down at the bottom, it'll list specifics for large print. You know, that you want to add the subfield H to the 245. Make sure that there's clarification in the 340 and the 655, and of course in the 999. The audiobook one is very similar. It does have one stipulation that if your media is MP3, that you actually have to do duplicate 33X fields. So you'll have one that's the audio and one that's computer file. And then if you were to have an additional material like a book or something that goes with it, there would be another one for that media as well. So, see, it also asks for an addition statement to whether it's abridged or unabridged in the 250. Let's see. The rest of it's pretty straightforward. Under the video one is the same as well. It outlines the required fields, the 007, the 008, which is required for both audio and video. I mean, well, you know what I mean. An 008 is required for a book too, but that's not what I meant. But the video format is going to include whether it's a DVD, a Blu-ray. If you really want to get particular under the 538, you can include resolution and region codes. Let's see, you'll want to include the video recording in the subfield H for the 245. And that's pretty much it. Am I missing anything? I know I probably went over that too fast. But we are trying to include the dates for the titles on the document, so that way you know what version it is. So when you check back in on the cataloging page, you'll be able to see at a glance if anything has been updated since the last time you looked at it, in case you missed an email. So.
Well, these are very useful, and I want to thank Baker for putting them together for the larger group. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Actually, you should thank Heather and John.
Thank you very much, Heather and John.
Well, thank you. We were just trying to make sure and everything was accurate, so.
Okay. Just an update on the book with CD. Situation that we've been working on, the read-alongs, sometimes known as well, that the mentors have been working through. We're getting really close to having that all kind of laid out, and so we're hoping maybe in August. Don't know that we have a date set or anything, but that we'll be able to do some training on this so that everyone will be kind of in the same line with the procedures. So be keeping your ear open for that later this summer, early fall, and hopefully we'll be able to make that a little bit clearer, streamlined for the patrons in finding these materials if they're looking specifically for this kind of thing. And Lori was going to do a system update this morning, but she's not able to be with us. Excuse me, not a system update, a series update. And she's part of a subcommittee that's been working on trying to figure out the best way to deal with all of the funny idiosyncrasies that seem to be making themselves present as we continue to move down, having fewer of the series authorities created through the Library of Congress. It's causing some interesting iterations to rise to the surface. And let's see, we have one of the committee members here. John, do you want to make any mention about where you guys are with this or any further update?
Well, there have been quite a few emails in the last couple days back and forth about where the series information should or should not be included in the 245. And I was hoping we would kind of iron that out in the mentor meeting later this week so that we can finally get this submitted. But yeah, I mean, we're much closer. It's basically just the last little decisions on what needs to be included and what doesn't. since, as we're all aware, RDA is you see what you get and use it, and it's not completely what we're all used to from the AACR. So it causes a few small confusions. But
Well, and I think it makes it difficult when the publishers are inconsistent as well.
Right.
Exactly, especially like audiobooks where something's printed on the CD, but it's not, or DVD, but it's not on the actual case, and it's different than the book would be. And so we want to make sure that it's clear for the patron and the cataloger as well. So.
Thanks, John. Excuse me. Is there any questions anyone has in reference to that? Okay. I don't know, with that kind of is the end of our agenda. I don't know that there's anything else major on the horizon that I'm aware of at the moment. But our next scheduled cataloging committee meeting would be the 6th of August, again at 11 a.m. And that should say Pacific Daylight Time rather than Pacific Standard Time on the agenda. But if there's nothing else for the good of the group, I would adjourn the meeting.
A very quiet group this morning. Thanks, Dia.
I haven't anything else, so I guess I'm ready to adjourn.
Okay.
I'll see you Thursday, or listen to you.
Okay. Well, thanks everyone, and keep up the cataloging. Have a good week.
Thank you.
You too. Thanks.